Hey y'all, it's Kalia Monique. My first name's Kalia, my middle name's Monique. It's Kalia Monique, and it is time for the mid-year book freakout tag. I thought that for this video, we could have a little slumber party. You know, I'm in my pajamas, and we can talk about how the year is going so far. We're halfway through this. Again, also trying not to cuss as much as I do, but we're halfway through this right here. 2023, halfway through with it. I mean, I'm kind of all the way through with it. I'm just tired. A new year is not going to change how tired I am, but still, oh my God. Anyways, let's get into it and bring them a little bit closer. That's right, y'all. Your girl prepared. For the first time ever in one of these videos, I actually got the books beforehand. Because honestly, with the reading year I've been having, I didn't know if I would be able to think of the answers to the questions off the cuff. At the time of filming this, it is July 13th and I have read 20 books. Not my best, not my worst. The books I've read, however, I've quite enjoyed. So, we're doing great. With this video, I know a lot of people are doing kind of different questions, adding to the questions, really personalizing this for themselves, and I'm going to do the same. I'm going to stick with the question, but let's go ahead and check in on my goals for 2023 and see just how different January 1st Kalia is from July 1st, because by the end of the year, I am a different person. The next half of the year, I don't agree all the time with my goals and need to revise. I do have my 2023 channel goals and reading goals. You can check out that video in the cards, but let's review some of those things. First of all, I have 12 goals, which was a lot. And probably why I'm not doing it. It's not happening. So first and foremost, for my channel goals, I really wanted to take wellness breaks. Once a week, I wanted to take a wellness break where I wasn't filming, editing, posting, just chill. And I did really want to plan ahead so that videos would be uploaded. It's not working out like that. Every year, I adapt to the year prior. So last year, you know, the world decided to open up a bit more. I was working full time, so I needed to adapt to that lifestyle. But in adapting to last year, you then have to adapt once more to the year you're currently experiencing, which is what I'm having to do. I'm in my adaptation phase. I haven't gotten the chance to not film in a week, but I don't edit. Like, if it's a wellness week, I will not edit. I have taken wellness weeks, kind of, but also haven't been able to plan ahead for them. And sometimes the wellness weeks for the months end up being back to back. Like, the wellness week for May might have been at the end of May, but the wellness week for June might have been the first week of June. So maybe they were back to back and that was never the plan, but also they're wellness weeks for a reason. I needed it. I'm sorry. And I will try, although again, who knows, I will continue to try to communicate with y'all when it is a wellness week, but I'm not usually in the most communicative mood when I am in need of a wellness week. And I think that that's the biggest adjustment I need to make, of like not needing to have a wellness week, but simply having one. When I get my wellness weeks, I need them, and I just need a break. I cannot do it. I'm so sorry. Next up, with my second goal, was to sprint at least once a month. I have not. I think I've sprinted twice this year. Enjoyed both times. Sprinting Kalia has to have the energy of filming Kalia. Do y'all want a video or y'all want sprints? Because I can't. Energy-wise, I can't keep that up more than once a week. Oh no, that sounds so sad, but I'm just tired and I'm okay with that. Next up, my third goal for the year was to fall back in love with vlogging, and I did it. I have done quite a few vlogs this year, just a couple, but I have enjoyed each of them, and I'm starting to enjoy a lot more the imperfection of them. Before, it was like a guilt thing of like, I'm not making any progress when it comes to vlogging. But now I'm like, nah, I like how hectic this is. Like, I will grow eventually. Small increments are fine, but it's fun to just get a chance to like talk to y'all about my current reads as I'm reading them. And I think there was just a part of me last year that forgot that. And also I was dealing with things last year, and yeah, I did not want an audience to that. Next up, my fourth goal was to unhaul books, and I have done that. I do have my unhaul video for the first half of 2023, and yep, they're gone. And they hopefully have all made their way to a home that enjoys and loves them. But I honestly I liked unhauling books, and I can see myself unhauling more books soon, because I did forget a few. My bad. I'm forgetful. Next up, my fifth goal for the year was to do challenge videos, and I'm working on it. Okay, like I said, I need to adapt to my energy level. I'm working on them, work in progress. I'm actually filming a challenge video at the moment, and it is going a lot longer than I thought it would. So we'll see when y'all get that. Next up, my sixth goal was to read 75 books this year. Like I said, I'm currently at 20. I don't think that would be on track to reading 75. But I've also changed how I do Storygraph to where my goals are in, like, I thought it was quarters, but I'm not good at math, so it's 5. I don't know how to explain that because I'm not good at math. But when I decided to update my goals, I then, instead of doing like having the set 75, it was 15 books. I made it to 15 books. My next goal that it says for me on Storygraph is 30. Once I meet 30, it'll be 45. Once I meet 45, it'll be 60. Once I reach 60, I will go back to having it at 75. And that just works way better for my brain. I don't want to feel like I'm in a deficit all year. It does not encourage me at all, but I also do want to see that little meter changing. Number 7, I did want to DNF more books. I haven't had to this year. Shout out to that. But the spirit I'm in, I am more than willing to DNF a book if I'm not feeling it. I just haven't made it there yet. I mean, there was one book I wanted to DNF, but it was also short form and was a part of my 12 books recommended by 12 friends. Y'all will get an update on my 23 books of 2023 at the end of 2023, but just know I've read 2 of those books, and honestly, neither of them worked out so well. But there was one in particular that I considered DNFing, but it was so short that I was like, why not? Next up, my 8th goal was to have a better mix of the genres that I love. I don't exactly know what I meant by mix, because I love fantasy, I love romance. I love romance and I love fantasy. Those are the genres I've been reading this year. So yes, but also no. I've done it but haven't. I feel like I have read an equal amount of fantasy as romance. I've had a few YA thrillers in the mix, a few nonfiction, but I have stuck to my 2 favorite genres, and I am having a fun time over here. Not really mixing it up, and that's not a goal that I'm going to be keeping for the remainder of the year. Next up, at number 9, I wanted to shop my shelves a lot more, which I have absolutely done. I am not purchasing books the way I used to, although I am still accumulating books because I do still have my book subscriptions. I'm not taking as many trips to Barnes & Nobles. I'm not making as many online orders. I am truly reading more of the books that I already own, and I'm loving it. So yay, shout out to that goal, because it's working out, baby. Going along with that goal, I do want to read, or did at the time, I did want to read more of my subscription box books. Yep, it's hard. That's hard. Say it 10 times fast. Good luck. But yeah, I haven't really done it, and I'm also okay with it. I feel like those books, because they're all new releases, I feel like those are for the second half. I'm going to keep that goal, and I'm just going to move that as a real goal for the second half of the year, because honestly, I am thriving in the new releases. I'm having a great time. Just not for some reason the new releases that are in my subscriptions. I mean, I also have only read, I don't want to say only, because 20 books is still a great number, but I've also have read 20 books this year, and so I haven't had the time, clearly, to read as much as I used to, and also to just pick up a book that wasn't already planned in my head to pick up soon. My next goal was to read 12 nonfiction books in this year. I have read 2 so far. Shout out to Spare by Prince Harry and Crying in H Mark by Michelle Zauner. I have actually enjoyed both of them, and I still love reading nonfiction. And I think putting a number to the amount of nonfictions that I read in a year is where I am finding the problem, because honestly, I am viewing nonfictions in the way that I view all of my books, and it's an interest thing. So if it's a topic that I'm interested in, if it's a person's biography I am interested in, then I will pick it up. But putting that number to it, I feel like I am reading just a good, although it is 2 out of the 20, I still feel like I am reading a good amount of nonfiction in comparison to my other books. I don't want, again, academia, I don't want to go back to reading mostly nonfiction. I don't want to force myself to read nonfiction. I simply want to read about things I am interested in, and I'm not going to put a pressure on myself to do so. So I really shouldn't have put that number on it. And it probably won't be a goal moving forward. Like, I'll continue to read nonfiction and want to read nonfiction, but I don't think that that is a yearly goal thing for me anymore. It's just, I read nonfiction, I enjoy the books that I read, and that's that. I don't really need to, it doesn't really need to be a goal, because it just is done at this point. I wanted to read more books that intimidate me. I'm not really in an intimidation mood as well. I have some books that I'll be reading soon that are like more of the chunkier books. Yeah, I don't know. I still do. I'm still very much up for that challenge. I just haven't particularly felt like reading books that intimidate me. And not in the way of like, oh, I don't want to read this book, I'm intimidated by it. But more in the sense of like, I'm going to pick this up and read it. And that's just how I've been going about my reading. There's no real plan to it. It's not like I'm seeing a book that I'm interested in reading and then being like, no, I'm too intimidated by the topic of the book, or I'm too intimidated by the size of the book, or by the hype surrounding the book. I'm not reading them, and other books have made it to my priority. So it's not that I'm still running away from books that intimidate me. It's just that I've read 20 books this year, and although that is still a nice number, I have read more before, and I feel like if I was reading a higher quantity as I did last year, and especially even the year prior, I would be more aware of books intimidating me and needing to read them. I'm just not there. I feel like I'm not reading enough for me to be like, oh, that book intimidates me, I'm not going to read it. No, I'm reading all the books I want to read. It's just taking me a bit to get through them. So, eek. I'm going to keep that one for the second half of 2023. But again, if I continue to read at the pace that I'm at, it's okay. Finally, to the part that you have been waiting for. It is time for the mid-year book freakout tag. Like I said, I've read 20 books, and let's get into some of my faves and some of my not so faves. First up, what is the best book that I've read so far in 2023? And that is by far The Fifth Season. This one, story-wise, character-wise, world building wise, writing wise, I've had 2 5-star reads this year, maybe 3, but even in looking at my 5-star reads, this one is more of a 5-star. The writing really is what stood out about this one, and the second person POV that we got, that got me. So I would say definitely The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. If you do not know what this book is about, I suggest you read it. Like, go in blind for this. If you like sci-fi, if you like fantasy, if you like sci-fi fantasy, great world building, then I suggest you read it. If you've heard the hype and you're somewhat interested in this book, I suggest you pick it up. Go in blind. It is so worth it. I knew next to nothing about this book, and I went in and I was like, oh my God. I've explained what this book is about to the best of my abilities before, but I strongly encourage going in blind. What I did know prior to going in is that, or did I? I think I did. One thing, a content warning for this book, is that one of the main characters deals with the loss of her child by the hands of her husband. So her husband murdered her child. Content warning for that. And there are other content warnings to come with 5th season. I think that one's the bigger one, and I will have them down below if you're interested. But I would say go in with those, but otherwise don't even worry about the synopsis or the contents of this book. Just know it is great. My God, 5th season. Oh my gosh. And I started the year with this book. Like, this was the second book I read this year. Oh, next up, what is the best sequel I read so far this year? Talking about my second book I read of the year, it's time for the first. Queen of Myth and Monsters by Scarlett St. Clair. Again, by far, I have only read 2 sequels this year, and the other one made the list. But it's not on this part of the list, so this one's the best. First of all, can't give you a synopsis for it because it's the second book. It's the book that follows King of Battle and Blood by, of course, the same author. And that book follows... I never was good at saying her name. Isolde, I think it's Isolde. But she is a woman put into an arranged marriage with a vampire. She is in a kingdom that does not like vampires. They hate them. But for the peace of her people and her kingdom, she is put into this arranged marriage. She marries this man and things happen from there. Hey, Adrian. That being said, he went through some things in this book. And I think that that's what I really loved about the second book, is because not only did we go deeper into the 2 main characters, but we got to know so much more about like secondary characters to really understand their stories as well, because they were valuable and things hit. I found myself angry at characters. I found myself loving characters more. I found myself being disappointed by characters and really let down by them, and understanding why they did the things they did, but still being like, but why? Like, we were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. But I did really enjoy this book. Oh, I guess I should also mention that I tried very strongly, especially coming up with this next book, but I tried very strongly to only stick with 1 book per question. Wasn't that hard, but there was a few that I really had to decide. Next up, what is a new release this year that I have yet to get to, but still strongly anticipate and cannot wait to get to? Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. Y'all know how I feel about this woman. Like, she cannot do any wrong for me. I love this book. I want to read this book. After Babel, oh my God. Like, I already liked the Poppy Word trilogy. It was cool. Babel, though, it's time. Now, each year or each publication, not including the trilogy, because clearly the trilogy was a trilogy, but all her other releases have been within different genres. So the Poppy Word trilogy was a epic fantasy. Babel was a more like modern fantasy series. I would even say like urban or even like magical realism to an extent, because the magic system wasn't very much a magic system. Like, it was very much real life. They can just do some cool stuff. Like, that's how I would describe the magic system in Babel. And here with Yellowface, it is her thriller. June and Athena are friends. People have been saying they were friends. I don't know. But they were both supposed to be rising stars in the literary genre. Athena soared like the star that she is, and June did not. And when Athena tragically loses her life, instead of being a decent human being or just like a human being, June decides to steal Athena's unpublished work that she suspects will be a great masterpiece and publishes it under her name. Literally takes this woman's story and publishes it as her own. She gets all the fame, all the stuff, great commentary to come. Did I mention that Athena is Asian and June is white? So this is a white woman who stole an Asian woman's story. I'm not too thrilled to read the perspective of a woman that would take a any book that they did not write and publish it under their own name, but let alone it being a white woman stealing from a Chinese woman. I'm like, damn. Like, how is this video going for y'all? Because I feel like I'm not saying enough, but also all that I'm willing to say. Like, that's what sleepovers are for us to chat, gossip, and be goofy. Next up, a most anticipated release for the second half of 2023. Baby, I don't know. I am trying to keep up with what I want to read currently. All the new releases that were released at the first half of the year, I'm trying to keep up with them, baby. I got my eyes on the prize. I am not really looking at the future. I am staying present, okay? I have no clue what books are being released in the second half of the year. I know of a few books that will be released from authors who publish things at the beginning of the year, or like the top of the year, who will be publishing things towards the end of the year. Shout out to them. I still don't understand how authors do that, but I haven't read the first book they published, so how am I going to be anticipating the second? I don't know. I don't know what books are coming out, and I'll catch it when it comes out. Next up, what was my biggest disappointment of 2023? I really don't want to talk about this one. If you've seen my most recent vlog, then you know that it counts as a disappointment. However, I have many thoughts as to why I'm disappointed by this book that I'm not going to share today, because I still haven't gotten confirmation on whether or not that is true. And so just know it's The Blood Gift by Annie Davenport. It breaks my heart that I'm saying that The Blood Gift is one of my biggest disappointments of the year, or is my biggest disappointment of the year. But y'all understand, this was in my 5-star predictions video. I gave it a 3.5 and I was being nice. Like, there's just plot holes that I need answers to that I will never get answers to, because this is a duology. This was the conclusion. Oh my God. Not to mention, but beyond the plot holes, there's also just like questions I will never get answers to. This is not what I expected. I had such high hopes, and while a 3.5 is not a terrible score, like I said, I was being nice, and even if I decided not to be as nice, it would still be like a 3-star for me. Still a good rating. It is the book that follows the Blood Trials. I loved the Blood Trials. That book I gave a 4.5, and I thought that the 0.5 that I just could not give to the Blood Trials, I would be giving to the Blood Gift, and it would be a 5 stars, and it would be great, and it wasn't. But like I said, this is the second book, the final book in a duology following the Blood Trials, which follows Akinna, who is the granddaughter of this military government official in her society, who really got his acclaim in a war against the society that they are feuding against. And when her grandfather mysteriously dies, she decides that it is her mission to avenge his death and the people that she believes might have been responsible. With sadness comes happiness, because the next question asks, what is my biggest surprise from the year? And that is by far, no book could have surprised me like this one did. Lovely War by Julie Berry. Y'all, now granted, this was a gift from a friend, and it was on my wish list, and I didn't want to read it. I thought I would like it. I was not expecting this to be a 5-star read. I was not expecting to love this book the way I did. I was not expecting to cry while reading this book the way I cried. I love this book. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. Lovely War follows the timeline of World War I and World War II from the perspective of Greek gods as they tell the story of people who they've impacted, primarily following the perspective of Aphrodite as she herself is on trial and finds herself defending herself by explaining her importance and value in mortals' lives. I swear I'm not crying. My top eyelash is just touching my bottom one, and I cannot see. This has been happening all day. I don't know what's going on. I don't find myself loving Aphrodite when I'm reading from the perspective of Greek gods very often. She comes off as very vain, and that's just that. This Aphrodite, she loves love as much as I do. And that is what I always expected from Aphrodite, was that she would love her job. She would love. And I've just never gotten that. Every other time I come across Aphrodite's perspective, excluding this book, sis does not love. She's just vain, and she is attractive and knows she's attractive. She's jealous. She's not very many things. Honestly, I have thoughts about that now after reading this book, because I'm like, why does she have to be that way? Why can't she just love and also be confident and have her guard up and protect herself where necessary, because no other god takes her job seriously? Like, I'm rethinking everything now. All because of Julie Berry, and go off. I love this. Like, make me think. Like, why do women have to be perfect? Like, why do we have to be nice? And she is nice. Well, she's nice in this book. But, like, I'm looking at the other book sideways now, because y'all tried it. Like I said, this takes place during the timeline of mainly World War I, but also World War II. And Hades shows up during a war. While I loved him as a character, all I wanted to do was cry every time he was on the page. I was like, sir, can you get away from the people I love? Yeah, I really love this book. I love it so much. Gosh. And I know you guys probably can't see with our whole nighttime vibe going on. You probably cannot see my tabs, but just know she is tabbed up, okay? Next up, new favorite author, A. Valdez. Baby. This one right here, again, tabbed to filth. Oh my God. Okay, so the first book that I read from A. Valdez was this one right here, A Worthy Love. Best believe I will be reading more. I will be reading more from this author. I will have the whole collection of all of her works. So thus far, I will. As I stated before, I'm not really purchasing books like I used to. And so it's probably going to take me a minute to get all of them. But do know that I will be purchasing all of them because I love this. A.E. Valdez made me understand when folks are like men written by women, and it's like the heart eyes, or it's just like this, so real men and then men written by women, and men written by women are greater than like real men. This book made me understand that. Like, yes, I understood before, but it wasn't like I truly connected to that. Asher motherfucking Blaine. Asher motherfucking Blaine. Oh my God, this man, like, I was like, this man was written by a woman. There's no way he exists in real life. He was emotionally aware. Like, oh my God. I can't even. Like, he's lived through some things, okay? He has some traumas that he's having to address in this book. And yet, the way he views and looks at Marissa. On one end, I really don't want him to be pushing aside the things he needs to work through. But on the other end, the way he is able to push through what he's going through and focus on her needs, especially as she is in a very vulnerable place within this book, it was just like, wow. The way they work together to help each other get, like, this is what it's supposed to be, y'all. This is what it's supposed to be. Two partners both going through things should not be the reason someone decides to get better. It is not the responsibility of one partner to make the other partner get better or want to get better. But you can encourage the person you love to get better. You can be there for them, all the while respecting your own boundaries and not pushing yourself too far, and never allowing it to get to a place where you feel like you're caring for them more than you're caring for yourself, and actually wanting to care for them this way. Like, I thought that was just so beautiful, because it was like, oh, I can't even, without spoiling, but there was just a point where Marissa was like, you have cared for me so much, give me the opportunity to care for you. And he was like, I don't want you to have to care for me because you care for literally everyone else. Let me be the person you don't have to take care of. And it got to the point where she was like, but I do want to care for you. But Marissa is a very caring person, so by nature, she cares for him, and she cares for him deeply. And it's exactly what he needs, and it's exactly what she needs, and I just, like, I cannot describe my feelings for this book without spoiling it. This man, oh my god. A Worthy Love follows Marissa Banks, who is recently out of a very toxic relationship. Her boyfriend at the time, who she thought was her very serious boyfriend at the time, was actually a married man. She did not know, and she was greatly humiliated by a woman that she thought was her friend and turned out to be this man's wife, playing tricks on her. So yeah, hard to recover from. She finds herself in a difficult place. In walks Asher Blaine, promising her one night of his best. And that night had them both hooked. Time passes, just a little bit of time passes, and they find themselves in a little forced proximity situation. Or not even forced proximity, they just become roommates, and they in each other's lives now, baby. And oh my god, I love this book. Read this book. Again, content warnings for any book I discuss. Content warnings for the books that I discuss that have content warnings will be in the description below, so do check that out. This one, the author so kindly puts the content warnings. It says, dedication to my readers. Your existence means you're worthy. Say less. Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. Yeah, Kennedy Ryan, new favorite author, although new as in this is the first book of hers that I read, but I knew I was gonna love this woman. So Kennedy Ryan, Before I Let Go, it's great. Like I said, I'm gonna mention it again in a later question, so I'll go into detail about this book then. But Kennedy Ryan, honorable mention, she technically is a new favorite author. Newest fictional crush, Asher motherfucking Blaine. Asher Blaine. Oh my god. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive A.E. Valdez for writing a man I know does not exist, or more than likely does not exist in real life, and me just having to accept that. I don't accept that. This man is... I have never gushed over a fictional character like I have for this man. I don't think I'll ever recover. And it's all A.E. Valdez's fault. It's her fault. Next question, newest favorite character. Both of them. Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan, both main characters, Yasmin and Josiah from Before I Let Go. This is a second chance romance where two people who were once married have to maintain their very much still connected lives. They have two children, they own a restaurant together, and they have to maintain having two children and co-parenting and running a restaurant as partners. They're also dealing with a great amount of grief. I just love these characters. These characters in particular, I love so very much. Yasmin, I love her growth in this story, not so much as like on the page, because she has grown on the page, but also just in some of the flashbacks we get to her past self. I love the progress she's made since then, because she truly deserves to find her happiness again, and I love that we got to experience that in this book, so I love her so much, and I'm so happy for her. And then Josiah, an amazing representation of a man going to therapy, a black man going to therapy. Oh my God, we love mental health representation in books, and the progress. Now Josiah, he's the one on page. You see so much progress from this man, and I'm just so proud of him. I'm so happy for him. There was one part of this book this isn't a spoiler, because like I said, there is therapy representation and representation of a black man going to therapy. And there's one part of the book where Josiah is walking into the therapist's office in turmoil. Josiah is new to therapy, And he walks in and he's like, don't even worry about the stupid will. I know how I feel. And the therapist is like, okay, how do you feel? And he's like, I feel like an idiot. And the therapist is like, idiot isn't an emotion. He's like, and Josiah goes, give me the fucking will. And I'm just like, there were so many times I found myself physically laughing at this book. It was hilarious. I love the characters. I love Josiah. I love Yasmin. I love Kasim. I love Jasmine's friends. So, oh my God, I love them. I did not like their daughter. Nothing against her. I understand you're a teenager going through things. A lot of life changes. I didn't like the daughter. But the original book that I had for this question is The Davenports' Ruby. Ruby, the way I root for Ruby, the way I want her to just find all sorts of happiness. The Davenports follows a rich family in 1920, a rich black family in 1920. Don't forget about that because it's important. And two of the sisters are actual Davenports, and two of the other main characters surround the Davenports. So Ruby is the main character's best friend, and then Amy Rose, who is their servant. I don't think I mentioned the names of the two Davenport sisters, but one is Olivia, whose perspective we get the most in this book, and then one is Helen, who is the other Davenport sister. As I've already said, none of them matter. Ruby. Ruby's family is going through some hard times. Sis just wants love. I hope she gets it. I root for Ruby like she's a real person. I get mad at people on behalf of Ruby as though she is a real person. Ruby deserves so much. And that's just how I feel. Yeah, that's as far as I'm going to go with this. Like I said, it follows rich black folks in 1920. It's very much Gossip Girl. It's a quick read. It's YA. It's a fun time. I read this with my sisters. We all enjoyed it. It was honestly the first. My sisters and I actually joked that this was like the first book since we started our book club that we all finished around the same time. Like literally within the same week, we all finished it. And we were like, you can tell we loved this. Next up, a book that made you cry. Where'd it go? I had to re-up on this one because I haven't been crying that much. I mean, 2 books, but the other one's at the very bottom of the pile. So I'm going to go back to Lovely War, only because I was not expecting to cry for this book the way I did, or at all. And yet the tears were falling. Like, I still read the quote that made me cry, and it'll still bring both comfort and tears to my eyes. Like, I cried. I love to cry more this year. I hope I do, but at least I got Lovely War. The 5th season also made me cry, but that is at the very bottom of the pile, and I'm not adjusting things to get to it. So the 5th season as well. Those are the only 2 times I've cried this year because of a book. And I wish there was more, but for that to happen, I would need to read more. I'm gonna just take my time. With these reads. Next up, a book that made me happy. Before I Let Go is gonna get its own chance with this one. It is the only book for this category. There are many books that I've already mentioned that made me happy, that brought smiles to my face, like Lovely War, The Davenports, A Worthy Love. Like, all those brought smiles to my face, but we're gonna give her the moment to just have her own question that she was chosen for, okay? And Before I Let Go, yes, it brought feels and like an ache in my heart, but there is also so many times I found myself giggling, laughing, smiling, reacting to things the characters in this book said. Like I had mentioned before, that scene in the therapist's office with Josiah, I was like, this guy. Like, I said it out loud. I literally said, this guy. And then I looked up and realized I am not in the book. I'm reading it. This book brought so many smiles to my face. Oh my God. Soledad, Hendrix, who are Yasmin's friends in this book, love them. Hendrix brought so many hilarious lines. Hilarious character. I want more of her story. Like, this, Kenny Ryan really did that. She really did that. Next up, favorite book to movie adaptation. I don't have one. Not that I can think of. Like, really cannot think of one. I'm not surprised by that, but I also am, just a little bit. I feel like I've been watching a lot of TV, catching up on a lot of things, and none of them are book to movie adaptations. Or TV shows, either. Huh. Yeah, I don't have one for this question. Next up, the most beautiful book I've purchased or received this year. I'm going with received, and those are from my book subscription boxes. I know last year I really didn't want to do book subscription boxes because that was a given, but we're gonna shout out a few. Two, again, we've gotten a bit, it's more than one. I couldn't choose between the two, and they look kind of similar, but I would say God Killer by Hannah Kaner, which is my Illumicrate edition, and then The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshni Chokshi. They're so pretty. Oh my god, the edges, beautiful. The inside, oh, there's so much here. Look at the freaking end pages. Just gorgeous. It's so pretty. And then we have all the notes from these right here. These end pages. Okay, hold on. And I believe each book also, I forgot. Look, oh my gosh. It's so pretty. I can't even explain to you why, because they're very similar. And yet I still cannot explain why I think that this is so pretty. I feel like book subscription boxes are really repeating themselves a lot. A lot of the books are looking a lot like each other. I like how they look. It's fine. Look at that. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's worth every cent of money I spend on them. This makes me so happy. Don't make no sense. I have no clue what either of these are about. At least not anymore. Except for who was kissing. Yeah. Kissing kills gods and she loves it. Marriage in turmoil? Married the wife he didn't know. Like he thought he did. I don't know. I don't remember. Just know that these are also anticipated releases of mine from 2023, and we're at the perfect moment of the year where I've forgotten a good chunk of what they're about from what little I already did know. So perfect time for me to actually get into it. Next up, the final question: what books do I really need to get to by the end of the year? And these are actually recent purchases of mine. I did, although I'm not going to the bookstore as frequently now, I did end up going to Barnes & Noble recently, and these are two of the three books I picked up. Yellowface was one of them, and then The Fourth Lord Olympus was another. But these two right here, Page Boy by Elliot Page and While Time Remains by Yomi Park. Yeah. Please let me know how to pronounce this first name. Page Boy is a memoir by Elliot Page. I just need to know. I follow them on Instagram. I saw the cover. I saw him on the cover. Look just as proud, just as I need to this. I'm invested in Elliot. Like the second I saw this cover, I knew nothing about this book coming out until literally the day before it came out, because I'm following Elliot Page on Instagram, and Instagram don't want me to see things from people I'm following, but no hope at all. So literally did not know until this book was coming out, like literally the day before it came out, that this book was being released. And the way I found out was Elliot Page posting copies of the book that he was signing. He was literally signing copies of the book. And I was like, what is this? And I saw this cover of the book and I said, yes, 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 yes. So I must read. Next up, like I said, another recent purchase. She apparently wrote another book. I have not read that yet, but I am highly interested in reading it since reading the synopsis for this one. But she is a North Korean defector. She wrote another book about that experience. I think the quote by somebody else is an eloquent, wrenching, honest work that vividly represents the plight of many North Koreans. So that was her first book. She has published another one, and this one is about the similarity, or I'm like, I just immediately got scared of censorship for some reason. I was like, am I allowed to say this? But she said it, not me. I'ma just read it. After defecting from North Korea, Park found liberty and freedom in America. But she also discovered a chilling crackdown on self-expression and thought that reminded her of the brutal regime she risked her life to escape. And then she faced ridicule for expressing that, comparing the two. Hence why I was scared to say that. But I want to read about that. I want to read about the comparisons that she found. Because, yeah, I don't know how to say anything else. There's also, of course, some very popular romance fantasy books that I'm interested in reading. They're still on my cart, and I don't feel like getting up and grabbing them. Just know, y'all have convinced me I do want to read them. I'm just also not going to put pressure on myself to read them by the end of the year. These two right here, though, I want to read as soon as possible. So, I hopefully I will. Anyways, that's really all, folks. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my face, my voice, my extraness. And if you did, go ahead and press that like button down below and press the subscribe button or bell notification if you like to be notified when I upload. If you would like to stay connected with me, as I would love to stay connected with you, I of course will have all my social medias linked down below as well. And if you would like to support this channel further, I of course will have my Amazon wishlist linked down below as well. If you would like to comment something down below, what have been some of your answers to these questions? I would love to know. And if you don't really feel like having a long-winded comment, but would still greatly like to support, go ahead and leave a leaf, because there are yellow leaves on the Before I Let Go cover. And like I said, this is my most recent read that I literally finished last night. And we're just going to give her a little love. Okay, we're going to give her some love. With that being said, I believe that is everything. Although I am probably forgetting something because I always forget something. But, bye guys.